Okay, so now that we have these set up, what we want to do is we want to start creating our foundation wall plans and everything like that. The problem is that we don't know where those pour breaks are going to be for a wall like this. Now, let's remember that if we want these as foundation wall actual sheets like lift drawings, we're going to want these at something like a quarter of an inch, right? And maybe a quarter of an inch might be too big, but I think that this will probably work pretty well for us. But you can see how big a quarter of an inch. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look, and I think that we can probably get top to bottom 3/16 of an inch on here. Yeah. So we'll set our foundation wall plans, our normal plans, and our elevations at 3/16 of an inch. The problem is at this, it's still way too large and we don't know where the pour breaks are going to be. So we can't necessarily say have final sheets set up because we don't even know what those sheets are going to look like. Now I'm going to put this one back. But what I am going to do just very briefly is I'm going to, or we're going to go ahead and set up a plan view that's overall, but at 3/16 of an inch for this entire area, and we're going to annotate it. And then whenever we get the port break information, we can break apart that or we can break that apart and then readjust and duplicate with detailing, and then minimize the amount of work that we have to do again in the future. But we can have plenty of things ready in advance. So first things first, what I do want to do is, because these like the filters and everything like that are going to be based off of having this area 3 parameter set, I do want to go through and I just want to select everything that I got here, and let's limit ourselves to just walls, and we want to see these openings. And I'm going to put in an area of 01. I'm not going to touch any of the other ones, but I am going to have an pore 3 area of 01. Now you can see that everything has been assigned an area of 01 for all of those. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it, and that's the reason that we have these broken out into 3 different sets of parameters, is that I could potentially select all of these and put them on the 2 parameter, except for these ones are on 6. Though normally that would be fine. So I guess we can select these ones, right? And then I could select all the ones that are part of P1 and just select it, put that on P1. And then the idea is it makes it a lot easier to kind of adjust those parameters. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and create plans for all of these walls. And again, I do think that it's valuable for us to keep these as level 1, because level 1 is going to be the top of these foundation walls. It might depend on the project. These things will be, these things will be adjustable over time. They're going to change for every project. But for this project, there is something that we can simplify our process with, and really that's to just say we can use these overall plans we can use these overall plans to kind of set up our views, and that level 1 is kind of consistent. I don't know if that's really the easiest way to say it, but it's kind of the consistent one here. So all I'm going to do for these is, now that I've got these views set up, I'm going to go ahead and say duplicate. I'm going to say foundation walls, level P2 shotcrete walls, and then I'm going to say we can call it any number of things. I'm going to call it area 1 plan, or actually maybe area 1 plan. All right, and so this is going to be area, like it'll be broken out between areas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it ends up being. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to 3/16 since we decided that's what works. And I'm going to take these colors off as well, because I don't want to see those for our purposes. But we do still want to see these other pores right here. So what I will do is I will now add a parameter for this, or excuse me, a pattern for this one. And what it should show is that these walls are that color, which is exactly what we want them to look like. Okay, so you can do that for each of these other two areas, and it's a pretty straightforward process, as you can see. But the one thing we do also want to make sure that we do is we want to make sure that we add the filters for all of these area 3 things, right? So we got areas 1 through 4. I have no idea how many we're going to have, so I'm just going to be conservative, and I'm going to put this up to like 8. We can always add more if we want to. We can get that information at a later time. We may, we may come and find out that, or how do I say it? We can always wait until they give us what those pour breaks are going to be, and then we can add these filters, and then make the pour breaks, right? Like change the model for the pour breaks, and then from there we can just add all of these area 3 things in. I'm going to start it now, and we can always add more in later. It's not a problem to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make all of these 50% transparent and halftone. And unfortunately, with everything before Revit 2023, you have to do them one at a time. I can't select all of these and try and change the filter. 50, 50. The other thing that I want to do is I want to say sheet number does not begin with G2, right? Because these are going to be on G2 pours, right? Now, when you set up the views for this one in the middle, that's going to be G6, so make sure that you have that. And let's also then say we want sheet number, or sheet name does not contain area 1 there. Those are good ones, right? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to leave them on for now because we haven't actually set up any of these views yet, but I do need to come back in here and I need to start setting up some elevations and section cuts, okay? So now when we add these elevations in, they will show up on the plan. We're going to do that in our next video, but we're not going to add these things to the sheets as of yet. We might as well, on those, since we have no idea how many sheets it's going to be, how many pours or anything like that, we're just going to go ahead and leave these off the sheets for now, because sheet setup is going to be pretty simple in the future once we've got all of that information. So let's leave that for now, and then we will go through and set up some 3D views, and we will also set up some elevations, and you'll go around and you'll set up the remaining elevations for all these other things. Cool. Thanks.